everybody. My name is Mrs. Fike and I welcome you to Catch Kids Club. I'm going to be with you 3 times to bring you nutrition lessons to help you stay healthy now and in the future. So let's get started. Everybody stand up, and I want you to hike and bike like Mrs. Fike. So let's go hiking. So we're going to pretend we're hiking through the woods. It's a beautiful sunny day. There's some wind blowing through the trees. And if you look up, you can see an owl. I see it in the tree. And it's saying, whoo, whoo. And we keep walking and we have to jump over a stream. Jump. Good job, everybody. Watch out. Uh-oh. Don't trip over that root that's coming out of that tree. Here we go. We're almost to the end of the trail. Oh, and I see a deer. Be still. Ran away. Keep going. All right, we're at the top of the hill. Everybody stop. Guess what? There are some bikes at the top of the hill for us, so hop on your bike. And we're going to ride. We're going to think of our hands as the pedals. Let's ride. And we're going down the nice country road. And we've come to a hill. So here we go, up a really steep hill. Come on, you can do it. We're almost there. We're almost to the top. And when we get to the top, what are we gonna do? You said it, we're gonna go down the other side really fast. Are you ready? Here we go, go. Woo! All the way to the bottom and done. Good job, everyone. All right, everyone, now that your heart is really beating fast and you're probably very wide awake, let's talk about foods. So to stay healthy, you have to make good food choices and do lots of activity. And keep in mind, you probably know this, but you should be doing 1 hour of physical activity a day. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now we're going to talk about food. To make food really simple for you and for me, because food can be kind of challenging to understand, we're going to divide food into 3 simple groups. And if you look on the board, we have go groups, which are green. And you know at a street light, green means go. And that means these foods are foods that are going to be the kind that if you have them available to you and you're allowed to eat just at that moment, you eat them. We'll come back to that. The second are slow. And if you ever have seen a yield sign or a yellow light at a street light, that means slow down, take your time, and then decide when to go. And then finally, whoa, which looks like a stop sign, right? And it's red. And we're going to talk about how whoa means stop and really think. So let's go back to go foods. So go foods are those kinds of foods that you can pull off a tree, pick off a bush, or pull out of the ground, wash them off, and eat them. They're the kinds of food that nature has given us, and we're not changing them in any way. So I know you can think of lots of them. So let's look at the group of go foods here on the board. And then we're going to talk about the 5 different go groups. So on the board you see grapes and blueberries, beans, nuts, corn, brown rice, broccoli, and zucchini. So the 5 go groups, those means the kinds of foods that you can pull off a tree, pick off a bush, or pull out of the ground. The kinds that you can eat whenever you want are fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, and whole grains. So I'm going to say them to you so you can remember what go foods are, and then I want you to yell them back at me. So I'll say them and you yell back. So fruits, you say it. Vegetables, say it, I hear you. Beans, nuts, and whole grains. Those are the go foods if we don't add sugar, salt, or fat to them You can eat them whenever because go means they're good for you and they will make you healthier. Okay, kids, now we just talked about go foods. I have one in my hand. Everyone yell out, what is this? You are right, this is an apple. So an apple is a go food because you can pick it off a tree, wash it off, and eat it. It's a perfect natural food that makes us healthier because we've eaten it. But we can take a really good go apple and turn it into something else. Can you tell me what this is? I think I heard someone say applesauce. You are right, this is applesauce. So do you know what you add to apples to make applesauce? That's right, sugar. So the minute we go from this natural apple, we washed off and ate, but now we wash off, cut up, put in a pot and add sugar to it, it takes us from a go apple to a slow food, which is applesauce, because it now has sugar in it, and sugar does not do anything to our body to make it healthier. So this is a slow food, which we just slow down and say, do I want to eat this? And if you do, go ahead. It's really a pretty good food, but remember it does have sugar in it. All right, then we can take these perfectly great apples and turn them into something else. That's right, apple pie. Do you know what we add to apples to make apple pie? Two things really that take our apple from a go food to now a woe food. So what we've added to apples to make apple pie is sugar in the filling and fat in the crust. So because we've added sugar and fat, and it's a lot of sugar by the way, we've gone from a great go food that you can eat at any time to a woe food, which is a sometime food. So I just talked to you about go foods, and then I talked to you about slow foods. So let's just talk for a second about slow foods. Slow foods are the yellow light at a traffic light, and that means slow down and think about it. And you see things like corn chips, cheese, there's that applesauce again, and sun chips, which are different than potato chips. These foods are really pretty good for you. Go foods are better, slow foods are pretty good, but for the most part they have either salt, sugar, and sometimes salt or fat added to them, but not too much. So if you want to eat a slow food, as long as they don't have too much sugar, fat, or salt in them, they're fine to eat. Then we can go to woe foods. And I'm going to read a little story to you about woe foods so you understand them a little bit better. But woe foods go from this really great natural go food that we picked off a tree to apple pie, fruit punch, not fruit juice, potato chips, donuts, sausages, and puddings. These are woe foods. These are foods we can only eat every once in a while because they have loads of sugar, loads of salt, loads of fat, and more sugar. So think about the kinds of foods you're eating every day and decide in your head, am I eating more go foods, slow foods, or woe foods? Okay, kids, now I'm going to read a story to you. It's called The Turtle and the Rabbit, which is a takeoff of the story The Tortoise and the Hare. You may have heard of that or had it read to you when you were younger. And in this story, I'm going to point to you about 4 times. And when I point to you, I want you to say, only every once in a while. So let me point to you and let's practice. So here I go during the story. I'm going to go like this. And you're going to say, only every once in a while. So here we go. One day, Rabbit told his friend Turtle, let's have a race after lunch. Let's start the race at my house. The finish line for the race will be the playground in the park. Turtle didn't like races very much, but since Rabbit was her friend, Turtle said, okay. Later, Turtle went to Rabbit's house. Rabbit was outside eating a piece of cake. Rabbit said, this snack is so good. Turtle said, Rabbit, you eat cake for a snack too often. Cake is a woe food and you should eat woe foods, you say it, only every once in a while. Good. Rabbit laughed at Turtle and said, let's start the race. Get ready, get set, go. Rabbit took off hopping, Turtle took off crawling. After a few minutes, Rabbit was way ahead of Turtle, but Turtle could still see Rabbit. Turtle saw Rabbit stop hopping. Then she saw him take something out of his pocket and eat it. Turtle called, Rabbit, what are you eating? Rabbit answered, candy. Rabbit, Turtle called, you eat candy for a snack too often. Candy is a woe food and you should eat woe foods only every once in a while. Good for you. Rabbit just laughed and said, you better hurry up. And he took off hopping. Turtle kept on crawling, and after a few minutes, she saw Rabbit stop hopping just before he got to the park. Turtle saw Rabbit take a bag of chips out of his pocket and eat them. Turtle walked up to Rabbit and said, Rabbit, you know that chips are a woe food, but you often eat them for a snack. You should eat woe foods. Good job. Only every once in a while. Rabbit didn't laugh this time. Instead, he rubbed his belly and said, I don't feel so well. He sat down on the sidewalk. Turtle crawled to the playground and yelled, I won the race. Then Turtle crawled to Rabbit and said, you should eat more go foods like grapes or nuts or broccoli or beans or whole grains. Rabbit said, rubbing his tummy, from now on, when it's time for a snack, I'm going to eat a go food. All right, kids, so I just read you a story about woe foods. So let's just quickly look again at the idea of go foods, slow foods, and woe foods. Go foods are anytime foods, and those come from those 5 groups of foods that we talked about: fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, and whole grains. Nothing's been added to them, and you can eat them whenever they're available to you, as long as you have permission to do it. Wash them off, pop them in your mouth, and you will become healthier for having eaten them. Slow foods are sometimes foods, and for the most part, they're fairly healthy. So if you have some of these around and you kind of feel like that's what you want to eat at that moment, go ahead. But remember, it's better to eat go foods first. And finally, woe foods are not an every time food or a sometime food but they're an every once in a while food. So don't think you can never eat these foods, but just say, whoa, okay, I'm gonna stop and think about it. When was the last time I had potato chips or a donut or a fruit punch that's full of sugar? And if it's been a long time, go ahead and choose your woe food. But if you just had one this morning or you had 2 yesterday, say, whoa, only every once in a while, and maybe skip a day or 2 before you have them again. Okay, so besides making just good, healthy food choices, we have to be active. So we're gonna do that now. Now I want you to remember that our heart is pumping, and it's pumping oxygen and blood throughout our body. And that muscle is really important, so it's doing it throughout our lives. So what we need to do is get our heart rate up and do activities. How long every day, everybody? What are you gonna tell me? How much time do we have to spend a day? I think I heard you say 60 minutes. You're right, 16 minutes a day. So we're gonna do an activity right now. Before we do, I want you to just place your hand on your heart and see if you can feel it beating. You might not be able to because you've been resting, but we're gonna do some activity and then we'll see if we can feel it again. And we want to notice 4 things about ourselves after we've done an activity. One of them is our heart will be beating faster. We'll be breathing more heavily. It will be harder to breathe. We might feel a little warm and maybe sweat. Probably not today because we're not going to be doing it very long. So let's get started. Grab your sock, put it in your right hand, and we're going to begin marching. And as we march, I want you to count out loud with me. We're going to count to the count of 10 by throwing the sock up in the air and catching it with our right hand, then with our left hand, then we're going to cross over, and we'll see if we go any farther than that. So here we go. So toss it up. 1, 2, keep marching. 3, 4. Count out loud with me. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Keep marching. Switch to your other hand. Toss it up. Left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Keep doing it with me. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to switch from left to right. 1, 2, 3. Keep marching. Keep counting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good job. 9 and 10. Finally, keep marching, but put it in both hands and toss it up. 1, 2. March. 3. A little faster. 4, 5. Keep going. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Stop. Put your hand on your chest, over your heart. See if you can feel your heart beating. Mine's beating really fast, and I'm definitely short of breath. So I know that we just made our heart muscle stronger. After this video is over, take your sock, roll it up into a ball, and play basketball. Find a bowl or a box, stand back, and see how often you can toss your ball into the basket. Okay, kids, we just finished our first Catch Kids Club lesson, all about go, slow, and whoa foods and good activities for you to do to make your heart muscle stronger. So I want to leave you with one challenge until I come back to see you again. And this is the challenge. I'd like you to try to replace a whoa snack with a go snack at least one time before I come back and teach you the second lesson. So think about what whoa snacks you're eating and see if you can replace it with a go snack, like an apple, banana, grapes, berries, carrots, whatever it is. See if you could do that. So until then, everybody stay healthy, choose good foods, and be active, and be good. And I'll see you next time.